Hey everybody, James Holst here, and in this short video what I want to talk about is Panoptix sonar that's found in Garmin's GPSMap units. That's the touchscreen units in their 7600 series line of fish finders. Now, there's just not a lot of information out there for anglers that fish in the upper Midwest. I'm talking about guys that fish for smallmouth bass, muskies, walleyes, or lake trout. Now today we are out fishing Lake Superior for lake trout and salmon, and over the course of this video I really want to keep the information shared tailored specifically to Great Lakes fishing. And the reason I want to do that is there's just so many potential uses for Panoptix sonar that we want to keep today's video very specific. So this one's for Great Lakes fishing. They're going to be out trolling, pulling planer boards, using downriggers. So what makes Panoptix unique is it's real-time sonar. When you see movement on your graph, that's happening in real time. If you're vertical jigging and you can see your jig on the display, as you raise it, it actually moves in real time on the display. So that's one key difference. With traditional sonar, you really get kind of a broad brush image of the bottom. You've got a single sonar pulse coming out of a transducer, it pings off the bottom, and whatever is the shallowest below your boat, that gets painted as the bottom. Now, if you're on a sharp break or contour, anything that's deeper than that shallowest part of that sonar return gets lost. With Panoptix, because they're using a large number of sonar crystals that all fire in a kind of a predetermined sequence, you end up with what looks like to me more of a scan of the bottom versus that single sonar ping return that's drawn with traditional sonar. So when we were out there today, we've got a set of planer boards out each side of the boat with segmented lead core, pulling spoons. And we've also got a set of downriggers that are off the back corner of the skeeter. And how we're making use of the Panoptix sonar is we're actually able to aim the transducer towards the downrigger balls and see not only the downrigger ball, the speed and temperature probe that's above the downrigger ball, but we can actually see the spoons behind the downrigger balls. And of course, you know what comes next. You get to see fish firing up off the bottom, interacting with the spoons. It's been a huge aid to us in determining hot colors and size of spoons, because not only do you know that a fish has come up and interacted with a bait, you know which bait that it was chasing around, the bait that it almost struck. And that helps a lot to know if you need to make a big change in presentation. Was the spoon too big? Was it the wrong color and the fish just barely gave it a second glance? Or did that fish really come in hot and swipe at the bait 2 or 3 times before dropping away? That type of information has previously been unheard of, absolutely unavailable to fishermen out there using this type of presentation. But with Panoptix, it's really all there, right there, just staring at you every second of the day. To get the most out of this view, one of the things I think an angler should do immediately is get your downrigger balls down as deep as you want them, and then you need to aim that Panoptix transducer. Now, a Panoptix transducer doesn't actually tilt physically on the transom. As I mentioned earlier, there's so many transducer crystals in there. The Garmin engineers have figured out a way to selectively fire different transducers to aim in specific directions. So you can actually control this transducer fore and aft. In this situation, because the downriggers run slightly behind the boat, what I do is I click on menu and then transmit angle. Now, if the baits I was fishing were slightly forward of the boat, I would move that transmit angle forward. But because we're trolling and those downrigger balls do fall behind the boat a little ways, I want them aft. And we found today about 20 degrees aft really gave us the best combination of clarity and visibility of those downrigger balls, as well as our spoons and the fish that we're trying to eat them. If you swing too far back, what you notice is you get a little bit more clutter on the bottom and some of the detail is lost. So anytime you're aiming fore and aft like this, you want to do it just enough to get a crisp, clean image of the bait you're fishing or the structure that you're looking at, but don't overdo it. So get it aimed aft about 20 degrees, click done. And what you see there is we've got a really good image of both downrigger balls, and that's from the surface down to the depths we're fishing. We can actually watch both of these downrigger balls fall down to the set depth. And you'll notice if you take a real close look at the video that we've recorded, you can see that downrigger ball. You can see the flickering of the spoons down below that large portion of that sonar return, that's the spoon that we're trolling. And then of course it doesn't take very long. If you're on fish, what Panoptix does is it provides a lot of decision-making information. And by that I mean, when you're out here on the water, what's one of the first things that every fisherman needs to do to be successful? That's figure out not only what bait to use, but also what color. So we're seeing fish interact in real time with the spoons we're pulling. And that's important because we can tell not only that there's fish down there, that's what a traditional sonar would do. We can tell how that fish is reacting to each individual spoon in real time. We can see which spoon fish are showing more preference for. If a particular spoon isn't producing that aggressive response we want, very often we'll see a fish just kind of rise up gently, take a look at it, and then slowly fall away. We know we have a spoon the right shape and the right color when we have fish that fire up and move aggressively quickly towards the bait. Now they might not hit it right away. Very often they'll make 2 or 3 swipes at it before they actually hit that bait. But that really helps us figure out the size spoon and color, and it's information that as anglers we've never had before. In the past, figuring out that hot bait for the day really came down to trial and error, but with Panoptix, you're seeing it with your own eyes in real time, and it becomes very easy to figure out which bait is the right bait on that particular day. Now, the second key advantage, in my opinion, of Panoptix over traditional sonar in this application is how much more information about the bottom is revealed by Panoptix versus traditional sonar. Now, what we've been doing today is we've been trolling along shoreline breaks, and we try to keep the boat at a consistent depth. And when you do that, traditional sonar shows the bottom as being perfectly flat. Now, the additional detail about bottom structure, the shape of the bottom, is so enhanced with Panoptix that we're actually able to stagger our downrigger balls. Very often they will actually appear as being under or below the bottom in traditional sonar and keep those baits within inches of bottom. And that's key to getting bid out here on Lake Superior. The guy that can keep his baits running the closest to the bottom most of the time wins by catching the most fish. The detail that Panoptix is able to provide that shows the space, the open saddles between high spots that are completely missing on traditional sonar are shown to you in a way that allows you to take advantage of those high percentage spots. I mean, that's where fish live. Those are ambush points, and being able to drop baits into those areas that previously you didn't even know existed with traditional sonar can make the difference between a decent day and the best day you've ever had out there on the water. So at this point in our season, I've had about 6 weeks to familiarize myself with Garmin GPS maps, as well as the Panoptix technology. And when I started this little journey, I really didn't know what I was in for. I didn't have a feel for how useful Panoptix was going to be, or how much new information Panoptix was going to be able to show me. Every time I get out there on the water, I discover something new. I find a new use for it, a new presentation where Panoptix is the best sonar view to help me be more efficient out there on the water and put more fish in the boat. So really the way I'm thinking about Panoptix now is really along the lines of how side imaging changed sonar for fishermen. Side imaging just broadened everybody's horizons. Instead of looking straight down like we did with traditional sonar, side imaging just opened our eyes to new possibilities out to the sides. And now here comes Panoptix. And what I'm finding is it is giving me so much more detail, so much more information, and doing it in real time that it's doing what every fisherman wants out of their electronics, and that's helping them catch more fish. Today, all we really wanted to bite off was Great Lakes fishing for lake trout and salmon, but I'm confident that we're going to find lots more presentations and species and situations where Panoptix is really going to be the best tool for the job. So do check back in the weeks and months to come, because we do have more videos coming intended to help you get the most out of your Garmin unit.